K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com. K98talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98talk.com.
We need to tell the truth. The truth is, Washington is corrupt.
The phony scandals.
You like your current insurance, you keep that insurance. Period. End of story.
Benghazi, Benghazi, Benghazi.
Dude, this is like 2 years ago.
I've got a pen and I've got a phone.
Because if you got a business, that you didn't build that.
Defend the Constitution. All of it.
But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it.
Your weekly 60-minute slice of common sense conservatism and ADHD is about to begin. Broadcasting from the Kensington Place studios, it's Jason Dewilkins, and it's time for According to Me.
From the Kensington Place studios, this is According to Me, Barack Obama and John Boehner's second most hated internet radio program. The 2-hour show that lasts 60 minutes. And folks, we have an action-packed evening this evening here, kicking off the 4-hour Polititainment hour right here on the 405. So glad you guys are here this evening. I'll tell you what, we're going to talk race later on in the hour. We have another Ferguson situation brewing right now, and it involves sports and Little League Baseball. I'll get there later on in the show. Plus, I have a special tribute to a very important artist that I'll pay tribute to as this week's Asshat of the Week. But as always, here on According to Me, we got to get it propers really quick. Hannah?
We're about to break them off something proper.
Stop, proper's time. When it comes to the Twitter...
I don't know anything about the Twitter, but I'm just guessing that...
Well, I know a lot about the Twitter, and I know you know a lot about the Twitter, and you can follow me on Twitter at ATM_show. That is at ATM_SHOW, where you get a slice of common sense, conservatism, and ADHD in 140 characters or less. And while you're on the Twitters, also follow at Polititainment, at Polititainment. Try saying that 5 times fast. Boom. Follow us at Polititainment, because we're always talking good stuff on the Twitters, which we all know that you enjoy. And by the way, hey, listen up. Breaking news.
Ethel Stefner just wrote on my wall.
Oh, yeah? What'd she say?
She says, get your wrinkly ass down to bingo this Thursday, biatch.
Hey, listen, Ethel can post whatever she wants to on my wall. We're good like that. But you can post that, whatever you want, by liking the According to Me show on Facebook. If there's ever been a week, by the way, that you need to like the According to Me show page on Facebook, this is the week. Tonight's episode will involve me sharing lots of information with you on the main topic for tonight. And while I have a strong opinion on it, it's important for you to have your own opinion and look at the facts yourself and do the homework yourself. I'll get you started, but you take it from there. It's important to do that. And also, hey, while you're on Facebook, like the Polititainment page on Facebook, where you get all links to not only all of the shows here in the 4-hour Polititainment hour, but also get links to the podcast and articles that we post on the website, stuff like that. And by the way, when it comes to Facebook, just know, if you invite me to play games on Facebook...
Because I'm too old to waste my time.
That was actually the wrong one. But anyway, if you invite me to play games on Facebook...
I'd unfriend you.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
No, that's exactly how it works. If you send me Candy Crush requests and all that good stuff. And by the way, people always ask me, hey, Jason, are you on Instagram? Are you on Tumblr? Are you on Snapchat? Well, the answer is no. And why?
Because I'm too old to waste my time.
That's right. That's where I was looking for that. And by the way, if this happens to be you,
I hate social media.
Then don't participate in social media. It's cool. Just send me an email, jason@polititainment.net. Make sure also you check out the website, polititainment.net. Not only is it a place for you to catch up on the podcasts of the shows in case you missed them live, the original articles, parodies, etc. For example, Bunny had her eyes set on feminists. Like the last, 2 pieces, she just beating feminists up just to piss them off because she's good like that. That was on the website this week. If you didn't get a chance to check that out, Angie made fun of gluten-free morons that are out there, even though she needs to be gluten-free. But she made fun of them anyway, which is great. And I wrote a piece on why I'm a liberal now, classic liberal, that you all need to read yourself, as well as, we kind of had a little fun with Uptown Funk, sung by the president himself. Yep, that's all on polititainment.net. The site's been up for like a month maybe? I mean, what has it been like? Maybe 30 some odd days. And we're bringing more and more content, more and more contributing partners and content contributors as well, perhaps in the very near future. So it's exciting to see. And for a website that's been around for just about 30 days or so, a lot of original visitors to the site for the first time that are coming on there. And if you're one of the first ones to visit us in the first month, you can say like years from now, yeah, you were one of the first. That's right. Anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this today's show. The internet. You hear me right now because of it. All the propers I just mentioned involve it. You're tweeting at polititainment.net or at Polititainment because of it. You're in a chat room right now because of it. I mean, think of how life is different. For mostly better, but in many instances, worse sometimes because of the internet. Many consider it a right almost at this point. Many lobby that just like electricity, just like gas, just like water, telephone, internet needs to be regulated. And this, my friends, brings us up to the main topic on this week's According to Me. That's net neutrality. Now, this involves the FCC. And the FCC is announcing essentially on February 26th what their overall position is going to be, even though they've already kind of leaked that out there. The question is, will the courts allow them to do it? Will Congress allow them to do it? It involves the government flat out having a role in the way the internet works. Now, on the right, if it involves the government, our knee-jerk reaction is, big government takeover! Let capitalism work. You can't trust the government. Which is usually the case. But on the left, you have, well, someone needs to regulate it to make sure these evil corporations don't screw over the people. I mean, the government needs to do that. Well, let's break it down for you. For the next couple of minutes, I want to pretend as if you know nothing about net neutrality. And if you do, maybe it's a refresher. But we need to know how we got here. For starters, as it stands, the FCC has been given the right to do this. Now, whether they should or not is not very debatable. They shouldn't. But do they have the right to do it? Well, they're not necessarily overstepping their boundaries because they were given those boundaries in 1996. I mean, Congress created information services very generically. You have to rewind time. I know it's hard to do that, but think of what the internet was in 1996. And what information services offers them the capability for generating, acquiring, storing, transforming, processing, retrieving, utilizing, or making available information via telecommunications. That was, quote-unquote, information services. I mean, it's pretty ambiguous, right? But then in 2002, the Supreme Court, in a court case, also ruled that information services fall under the FCC's call. But again, even since 2002, how much has the internet evolved since then, let alone by, its inception? I mean, no longer, let's be honest, can we call the internet an information service. Instead, the FCC wants to call it, and understandably so, a telecommunications service. Weird thing is in 2002, the FCC lobbied to the Supreme Court that it was an information service. Now in 2015, they're saying otherwise. That's the weird thing here. But again, in fairness, is the internet the same thing now as it was in 2002? Could you make the case right now that it is the telecommunication services? I think it could. I mean, how many phone calls are made over the internet? How many video conferences, movies, television shows are 100% online? That's just not information. But can you argue it's no longer informational services? Well, no. See, in 2003, net neutrality was coined as a way to describe a fair internet where all traffic is created equally. Those who support net neutrality point out cases like in 2007 where it seemed like Comcast was limiting peer-to-peer connections. And, of course, you have the major case involving Netflix and Comcast, in which Comcast was throttling Netflix speeds and their internet connection. See, it's big evil corporations trying to screw over the people, right? That's why we need net neutrality. Well, here's the counterpoint to that. Comcast, Verizon, other internet services spent billions and billions of dollars to create a pipeline, so to say, to their customers for their customers. And being an ISP, you try to grab as much profit as possible, but still allow yourself to be able to be a profitable business and to be able to provide a service to your customers that they are expecting and that you pay for and, quite frankly, that you advertise. It's not 100% profit. There is a cost of doing business. And when you look at the Netflix Comcast situation, Netflix was generating lots of revenue, not using their own ways to actually manage traffic, but putting a lot of that traffic on the internet service providers. Comcast being the number one internet service provider in the country, the largest at least. 40% of Comcast's traffic was by Netflix alone at one point. So think about it. You created the pipeline. You spent billions of dollars creating your pipeline. 40% of it is being used. So the 60% of everybody else who has Comcast has to fall in the 60% pipeline. So what's going to happen? If you try to cram all the other traffic into the 60%, you have slowdown. You have dissatisfied customers. So Netflix customers are loving life. The guy wanting to watch YouTube on his laptop may see less than ideal internet speeds. And God forbid if Comcast doesn't deliver 105 megabytes per second, like promised, because you'll be calling them to bitch, right? So they limited the bandwidth capacity for Netflix subscribers, which resulted in a huge controversy. Netflix was pissed, customers were pissed, and the left, of course, was pissed because it gave them ammo for net neutrality and evil corporations to be pissed at, right? So how do they settle their differences? Money. You see, Netflix wanted to make sure their services worked well, and Comcast accepted an amount of money that they would use to increase capacity to allow Netflix subscribers fast speeds for streaming video. Capitalism, that's crazy. So Netflix has happy customers, so does Comcast. Now, again, let's look at it from a business standpoint. I am providing a large pipeline for my customers to access the internet. I'm charging one rate, whether they watch Netflix 24/7 or they're on Craigslist 24/7. Again, however, when 40% of my pipe is being used by customers who are paying another company for a service using my pipeline, I'd be concerned, wouldn't you? Is it fair for me as the internet service provider to limit bandwidth in order to protect the performance standards we as a company have set ourselves and for our customers? And if you, the business owner, invested billions and billions and billions of dollars to deliver a service, then to be told exactly how you can and can't use the pipeline, you okay with that? If that pipeline isn't performing to standards, again, is the customer calling Netflix or Comcast? Hint, they're calling Comcast. They're not calling Netflix. They're not calling Amazon Instant to bitch about it. I can tell you that. Again, I'll let you decide your thoughts on that. But that's the counterpoint from a business standpoint. So this issue really brought net neutrality back to the forefront. The Comcast Netflix argument really made those saying, see, evil Comcast slowing service down because they can. They shouldn't be able to just pick and choose how fast or slow anyone gets content. See, we need regulation against these bastards. This is where it began again. This has been something that's been out there since 2003, but make no mistake about it. This was the momentum the left needed to create net neutrality. Problem is, there's way more to net neutrality than that. Is the FCC being in charge any better than Comcast? Yeah, we'll talk about that. That's next on According to Me.
You're on the 405.
Obama, Obama, oh, oh. Obama, Obama, oh, oh. Obama, Obama, oh, oh. Obama, Obama.
This here's that new hit, Michelle Obama, the floatist. This one's for the middle class. This term's my last. I got work, you see. Free community college and roads to fix in the city. Got vacation days to use up, and damn, my golf shot's pretty. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Climate change has got me on fire, man. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Teabaggers call me a liar, man. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Hope and change, you know who I am. I'm too hot. Hot damn. And the redistribution of money, check it out. Tax increase, hallelujah. Woo! Tax increase, hallelujah. Woo! Tax increase, hallelujah. Woo! Obama bunk's gonna stick it to you. Obama bunk's gonna stick it to you. Obama bunk's gonna stick it to you. My massive spending will never stop. Don't believe me, just watch. Let me be clear. I'll say it again. Republicans, don't believe me, just watch.
Hey, listen, when According to Me, Unapologetically Bunny, Real Serious Nonsense, and the Stafford Voice all have back-to-back shows every Thursday night here on the 405, something magical happens when you put them all together. It's like peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, Joe Biden and his hair plugs. I mean, by themselves, they're great, but when you put them together, it's even better. Except for Joe Biden and his hair plugs. I mean, both of those things are awful by themselves, let alone put those together. Yeah, edit that part out.
You're on the 405.
Russia and Putin are dominating on the world stage. Radical Islamists have taken over almost every country in the Middle East and are killing all around the world. They have also taken huge swaths of Africa, North Africa, and beyond. Economies in Europe are in trouble. The U.S. dollar loses value almost every day. Our country is in trouble. Don't believe the left, ladies and gentlemen. It's not over.
Cold War Radio, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, on the 405media.com.
A show that will change internet radio as you know it.
Here come the spy dolphins.
I sold my food stamp money for Doritos and wheat.
I call them the Mary-Kate and Ashley of outrage.
Bras are completely racist. End all bras.
A show that is different from those that aren't so different. Real Serious Nonsense. Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on the 405.
Your powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
If I only would have known that his show was going to be on there, I would have never invented the internet. According to me.
According to Me. Welcome back, folks, to According to Me. So maybe after the first part you thought, if that's all net neutrality is, that's not so bad. I mean, yeah, the government's involved. There's always going to be a motive, and it rarely is ever truly a benefit to those they claim to serve, the people. But I mean, as John Oliver called it, if they would just change it from net neutrality to preventing cable company effery, I won't say the word, that's Bunny's job, because then people would realize what it's all about. Again, a compelling case. can be made in favor of it. But again, what else is behind net neutrality? Because it ain't just about a free and open internet. And that's what we're going to discuss. Would you believe it's become political? No! In Washington? Get out of here. You see, both sides paint their viewpoint as the other side is in bed with big corporations. And there is some truth to that. Because both sides are saying they're standing up for the little guy. The left, again, attacks large corporations and say, oh, how could a Facebook have ever existed if a big, mean corporation decided it didn't like Facebook and wanted to impede the speeds of how you could connect to it? By making the internet fair, everyone gets a shot, right? That's the same argument for wealth distribution, right? It's not fair that rich people have all the money. Everyone needs a chance, and government is just the ones to help make it right. Government has your back, right? But the right then says they too speak for the little guy. Well, how do you say that you're supporting companies who can pick and choose how they manage the internet and then allow customers to do what they want to do and not to do? And that is where I point out the hypocrisy there. The largest lobbying company in Washington is Northrop Grumman. Lobbying group essentially involved in the industrial military complex. You know, they kind of lobby Washington into spending a whole lot of money on defense. You know, those guys, they're number one, Northrop Grumman. Number two, Comcast. The largest television and internet service provider in the country, spent $18 billion last year for favors in Washington. Now, the relationship between Comcast and this administration especially is sickening. One of the president's most frequent golf buddies? CEO of Comcast. So let me get this straight. I'm supposed to believe that the side that time and time again has had the back of Comcast when it comes to mergers that practically make it a monopoly and then accept the second most amount of money in Washington for re-election campaigns and look the other way, vote in our favor, and will handsomely financially reward the same side. Those guys are doing everything they can to prevent big evil Comcast from owning the internet, so to say? What? Do you honestly believe that? Of course not. You can't. You shouldn't. So the same side taking all the money from Comcast, the same side who plays golf with the president, the same side who spent the second most amount of lobbying dollars in Washington are the ones that Washington's going to pick a fight with? Do you believe that crap? No way. See, in the end, when government and corporations get in bed with each other, somebody gets screwed. And that's the customer. Now, think of regulations involving water and the costs involved with that. Think of the costs involving the regulation of natural gas and electricity providers. Who pays for those additional regulation costs? Hint, it's not the companies. It's you. The cost of energy going up, the cost of water going up. You think that's just because those commodities themselves, quote unquote, or those utilities themselves are going up in cost? Or is the government making them do everything to be safe, to be environmentally friendly, to do all of these things that they have to fall in line to do to even have a business? Again, are they paying for that or are you paying for that? Same result will happen in net neutrality, only it will likely result in one of two things. Either higher cost to the consumer or less innovation due to fairness. If a business cannot create new revenue streams when it comes to how it's going to manage its data, why would they invest a ton of money into it? Hint, they won't. But Jason, the FCC is in charge, not the White House. And the FCC is a separate entity. It doesn't take direction from Washington, and especially not the White House, right? Well, a couple things. The chairman of the FCC is Tom Wheeler. But who appoints the chairman of the FCC? The president does. Of course, the Senate has to confirm him, and the president does. And Tom Wheeler was appointed in 2013 But again, who had the majority of the Senate at that time? Yeah, just saying. Well, if you followed any sort of pattern with this president, most presidents, but especially this guy, the pattern is guys who have either done favors for or will do favors for Obama get appointed to positions. That's kind of how it works. Well, let me tell you a little bit about our friend Tom Wheeler. Because Tom Wheeler was the former head of the National Cable and Telecommunications Association, a Washington lobbying group for the cable companies. That's weird. You know, money in exchange for political and votes type of thing. Yeah. Kind of what lobbying's all about. So, serving as the head of the NCTA when Reagan was in office. So, why are you freaking out about it, Jason? Oh, Jason's getting ticked off that a lobbying guy was there when Reagan was there. What's the big deal, right? Well, it's true. But then after that, he was part of the Cellular Telecommunications and Internet Association from 2002 to 2004. And guess what? He was such an awesome guy that he was inducted into the Wireless Hall of Fame in 2003, and then in 2009 was elected into the Cable Television Hall of Fame. He's the only member to be elected into both, and the reason being is he is considered one of the most influential men in the cable and television and cellular industry. I mean, they love him, for God's sake. But what makes Tom Wheeler really great is this. During Barack Obama's presidential campaign, Wheeler spent about 6 weeks in Iowa helping his campaign efforts and raised $500,000 for him. You know. But other than that, he's a good guy. So, let's recap. Let's think about this, seriously. The FCC, who's running the show in regards to net neutrality, is run by a guy who was nominated into the Cable and Cellular Hall of Fame as a guy who had a tremendous impact on their industry because he lobbied Washington for political favors in exchange for cash. That same guy who was appointed by the president who helped raise $500,000 and campaign for him in Iowa. That same president whose most frequent golfing partner is the CEO of the largest internet provider in the United States. The same CEO of a company that once paid Tom Wheeler to lobby on their behalf for sweetheart deals and consideration in Washington. But yet, somehow this net neutrality thing is all about saving the little guy and keeping the internet quote-unquote fair? Fair for who exactly? You want another reason to be against net neutrality? You know, you hear all these stories about China and how YouTube's not available in China and many websites are not available in certain countries because the internet service providers in other parts of the world are fully regulated and the government signs off essentially on what you can see and not see. Well, insert Mark Lloyd, FCC diversity czar, and you'll never guess who appointed him to his position. I'll give you one hint. See, Mark Lloyd's all about, and there are plenty of quotes, by the way, in audio to prove this, he's all about government's role in the media. He worked as a reporter on NBC and CNN, and after that worked for the Center of American Progress and, you know, the independent, nonpartisan educational institute dedicated to improving the lives of Americans through progressive ideas and action, but they're totally nonpartisan. That's true. Progressives are on the left and on the right. He's one of them. This is a guy who praised Hugo Chavez and the Great Revolution there and credited his rise to power and real social change because of his essential seizure of the media. Real socialism took place when he in Venezuela decided he was going to own the media and can pick and choose what it is that people can see and not see, hear and not hear, read and not read. Isn't that sweet? This is what Mark Lloyd said in 2005 in regards to what he sees the future of media being.
We need a media responsible to promote democratic dialogue. We need media independent of corporations. If we really want news that we can trust, we must create a structure that makes it possible, and we must pay for it. One way to do this is to require commercial media to pay full fare for their access to public resources and use that money to fully support public service media in the United States.
So Mark Lloyd wants commercial, private radio stations that aren't diverse enough to pay a fee to public broadcasters, which again goes along with the previous comment. So offering different opinions on your broadcast or pay fines. That's simple. So every show, I guess, needs to be Hannity and Combs. That's how it needs to work. If the FCC can regulate how the internet works, it can dictate how it works. Imagine Googling State of the Union 2015. And the first result I get is an MSNBC article saying how awesome the president is and praising him. And then there's a mandatory article giving you the opposition viewpoint from NPR. Well, we all know that NPR is hardly nonpartisan or independent. I mean, they're slightly less left than MSNBC. In other words, let's play this idea out. The question would be, who decides who the counterpoint is? When the pipeline is no longer a pipeline influenced by a corporation and is now influenced by the government, what roads are now no longer accessible? And this would be just the start. The FCC is saying that they're only wanting this to be fair and free from corporate greed and manipulation. And while I don't want that, I also don't want to support a system in which the FCC, which is controlled by the White House, who is controlled by lobbyists like Comcast, are all in bed together. Because in the end, the only one who loses is us. Want to know why China doesn't allow YouTube? Because access to YouTube allows the Chinese to see the world outside of their bubble. The government doesn't want you to look outside of that bubble, so you can't see it. The internet was invented by Al Gore, as we know. But the innovation and the amazing capabilities of what we have in 20 years was not because of government regulation and involvement. It was because it was absent from it. Let me ask you something. Do you let the guy who did plastic surgery to Kenny Rogers touch your face? No. Why? Have you seen Kenny Rogers' face? No, thank you. Same situation here. The same people who said our healthcare system is broken because of the out-of-control costs of these bastard insurance companies. We need to fix the system because everyone has the right to healthcare. The same people who have fixed healthcare in America are now here to fix the internet? Ha! I don't think so. Now, next we're going to talk about a story that's not big, but will be kind of our specialty here on According to Me. The race baiters are at it again. This time, it involves Little League Baseball. That's next on According to Me.
You're on the 405.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction.
Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Vice President, members of Congress, my fellow Americans. Free stuff. Free stuff. We've created 12 million jobs in the last 12 days. Free stuff and free college. Free stuff, equal pay for women. Free stuff, I'm going to have Joe Biden do things. And free stuff. We've got crumbling roads and bridges I still haven't fixed yet. Let's see, more free stuff. Climate change. Free stuff, let's work together. Because that's what Americans want us to do. In the interest of bipartisanship, I'll veto everything Congress proposes. More taxes for more free stuff. And I'll end with this. Free stuff. God bless you. And may God bless this great country we love. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, are you conservative in the world of liberal?
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah! Well, you're not the only one. I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice. Each week, I'll bring you the events, and together we'll learn about how they affect you.
So sit back and get ready to laugh and cry your way through the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio. Every Thursday night at 11 o'clock Eastern, right here on the 405.
We're gonna spread happiness. We're gonna spread freedom. Obama's gonna change it. Obama's gonna lead 'em.
So let me be clear. If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Everything he's done is clean as a whistle. He's never not only broken any law, he's never done anything wrong. He's the perfect father, the perfect husband, the perfect American.
Hey y'all, this is Sam Janney, or the Bunny as many of you know me by, your friendly neighborhood bad girl of conservatism. Here to talk to you about my show. I'll talk about conservative issues, my top 10 douchebags of the week, and have some pretty badass conservative guests on the show. All that, plus me, your resident bunny with a chainsaw.
Thursday nights will never be the same. It's Unapologetically Bunny, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the 405.
He's the honey badger of internet radio.
Oh, the honey badgers are just crazy.
According to me.
Ew, what's that in its mouth?
Welcome back to According to Me, folks. So, we specialize here on According to Me. Talk about the shows that either time forgot, or talk about the issues, the news, about things that aren't huge yet, but will be. And trust me, folks, we have a new Ferguson on our hands, and involves Little League Baseball. Many of you remember the great story about Jackie Robinson West Little League last year. And by the way, this story is semi-sports related, so I just want to give everyone a fair warning, because every time I talk about sports, people are like, talk about politics! Jackass. This ties into politics, just saying. But it's according to me. I'll talk about Pez for 60 minutes if I want to, and you'll like it! I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Anyway, so again, you remember the story. I would hope, even if you don't watch sports, you probably heard of the story of Jackie Robinson West Little League. Again, the game of baseball is practically dead in the black community. And you have a Little League all-star team from Chicago, Illinois, in an area of Chicago that is poor, high crime, and just very predominantly African-American black area. Oh, and they had a girl pitcher, remember? That whole thing? Well, this team not only did well in the Little League World Series, they won the United States tournament. In case you didn't know, the way the Little League World Series works is all the United States teams play each other, and you determine a winner from the United States, and then they take on the international championship team. Man, many times it's Japan or Taiwan or Mexico or Puerto Rico, etc. Well, Jackie Robinson West made it to the championship game. Again, they won the United States championship against Japan. They lost, but many considered them winners regardless. They had a massive parade in the city of Chicago the day after the championship game in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. They got to go to the White House. They got to meet old Prezi Prez. It was a feel-good story everyone loved. Deep down, everyone was rooting for Jackie Robinson West. I was. I love baseball. I really do. And I know how great of a sport it is and what it meant to me as a child. And to see that sport practically dead in black communities and see a team of all black kids beat every other United States team is not only a great story, but hopefully I looked at it at the time as maybe a shot in the arm to revitalize baseball in black communities once again. I had hoped that maybe like a 5-year-old black child seeing a 12-year-old just like him playing in the Little League World Series may make him pick up a glove and some balls and a bat and head on down to the park. Jackie Robinson West Little League was named the Chicagoans of the Year in 2014. And for good reason, right? Here's a problem. They cheated. You see, the Little League World Series and the Little League rules state that all the players on your team have to be players that all play for Jackie Robinson Little League, etc. You can't play baseball for a team 20 miles away and come tournament time, you magically move and you play for Jackie Robinson West. It doesn't work that way. You can't do that. And what's important to know here is Jackie Robinson West the year before made it pretty far in the tournament. They were one game short of actually going to the championship game to face the international team. Man, if they only had a couple other players, they could win this thing. Well, they got their players all right. They had 4 players who played from neighboring suburbs who were brought in for the tournament. That's against the rules. This just in. Now, Jackie Robinson West isn't alone here. The team from the Bronx several years ago was stripped of their U.S. title after they found out that a 14-year-old was on the team. You can't be more than 12. In the 70s, Taiwan was stripped for their titles after it was discovered that they had players either too old or players that weren't from Taiwan in the first place. 1992 Philippines team, same exact situation, having players that were out of the boundaries that are allowed to be in order to qualify, essentially, and be a team that's playing within the rules of the Little League World Series. This year, the Peachtree City team from Georgia, they won the Georgia tournament. They were ruled ineligible due to unnamed violations and paperwork fraud. The commissioner of the Peachtree City Little League in Georgia, Brandon Taylor, said, hey, as a commissioner of this Little League, it's on me, and I feel awful for what happened to these kids. But that's not happening at Jackie Robinson West. See, Jackie Robinson West, like I said before, is made up of all black kids. And what have we learned in America as of late? It's never the fact that black people do anything wrong. It's racism. The imaginary Klansmen around the corner are here to discredit and disrespect the black man in America. Jackie Robinson West yesterday, by the way, was stripped of their United States championship. And guess who's involved? Guess who's on the scene to right the wrongs? Guess who wants justice? Guess who wants to get paid by no longer making this a race issue? None other than Jesse Foghorn Langhorn Jackson. It's an honor. I say, boy. That's right. Oh, Jesse! Jesse's involved. This is Jesse yesterday. Press conference about the championship being stripped away from Jackie Robinson West.
Is this about boundaries or race? Rainbow Push will be continuing to investigate and review all aspects of this matter.
It's about boundaries, Jesse. But I know the imaginary Klansman that's always around you. Everything's about race, of course. And then the guilty white person, because you have to have those as part of it, Father Flager, who we all love in Chicago. Everything is racism. This is what he said in regards to the ruling of Jackie Robinson West losing their United States championship.
I can't help but wonder the question if the same thing would have been done with another team from another place, another race.
Yeah, there's no one cares about any wrongdoing here in America, just when it involves black kids, especially. And then you have Vanessa Green. Vanessa Green's a mother of one of the kids on the team. Oh, and she's great. She is just amazing. This is Vanessa Green. Again, now mind you, I want to paint the scene for you. You have the Reverend Jackson, Aseboa. You have Jesse Jackson, who talks like he has marbles in his mouth. You have him. You have Father Flagler, the guilty white guy. You have Vanessa Green, who's a mom. And then you have some of the kids, the actual players. They take kids out of school to be a human prop to fight racism. Listen to this chick.
It is amazing to me that whenever African Americans exceed the expectations, that there is always going to be fault that is going to be found in what it is that we do. Little League says that they teach character and they teach courage. Well, this isn't an act of courage, and this sure isn't an act of character. Brandon Green and his teammates, they earned the championship win, and we will not stop until justice is done.
Girl, speak it. No justice, no peace. That's right. And later on, when asked a question, and that's what it always is when it comes to race in America, it's not about black and white. It's about the money. She says that.
So that we can get these 13 boys their college scholarships. And thank you, Mayor, for our parade. But our parade is not going to put them in the paid college pipeline.
It ain't going to get them scholarships, yo. That's what it's about. Now, little news flash. If you can play baseball pretty good, you're going to get a scholarship. And if you're in the Little League Flippin' World Series as a 12-year-old, it doesn't mean you're going to be good enough to make it to college in the first place, but it doesn't matter. See, because racism cost them their opportunity. See, just like Ferguson, the race baiters have found their white guy to pin this on. It's not the league. Jackie Robinson West, they didn't cheat. No, it's the fact that a white guy who was an opposing coach who lost to Jackie Robinson West in Chicago, he's the real enemy. Get him! Jackie Robinson West beat the crap out of his team, and he's the bad guy, and he's white, so we know it's racism, right? Now, never mind that he's married to a black woman and they have 4 kids. Doesn't matter. He's still clearly a racist. Oh, and by the way, his Evergreen Park baseball team is predominantly black and Hispanic kids. But again, it's all racism. Because if these were white kids, he wouldn't have cared. Of course not. Now, just like Ferguson, just like Michael Brown, the facts don't matter. Let's just put it this way. There were neighboring suburbs who threw parades for the individual players, like, celebrating one of our own. Okay, let me get this straight. Jackie Robinson West is in Chicago. A neighboring suburb is the one that's throwing parades for one of the kids who lives there because they made it to the Little League World Series championship game? Well, wait a minute. He's in Chicago. What's going on here? And that's how it all started. And so it took months to be able to figure out that, holy crap, Jackie Robinson West completely drew up their own boundaries and said, here's our boundaries. Yep, we're totally cool. It's all a lie. Now listen, youth sports has become a cesspool that rivals the scumminess of college sports. And full disclosure, I've coached my oldest son's football team and I coached my 7-year-old's flag football team last year. There was talk about not having flag football again after last year in my community. Not because of the kids, but because of the coaches. And especially the parents. I contemplated even coaching this year because of the headaches involved. But my son Lucas loves the fact that daddy is his coach. To hear from kids who I coached 6 months ago this week tell me they can't wait to play football this year and want to be on Coach Jason's team is the reason I love it. To teach a child the importance of being a team. To teach a child what happens when you keep practicing something and you do better at it. To have a 7-year-old feel how great it is to win and how much it sucks to lose. To see a child go from running the wrong way in the beginning of the year to scoring a touchdown is the best feeling in the world as a coach, and that's why I do it. But I have to check myself too. I'm competitive. I want to win. I want my kids to win. I this year unloaded on a 17-year-old kid who made the absolute worst call during a game and made the call on a play he didn't even see. I lost it. I was wrong. And heck, I was tame in comparison to others. What are we teaching our kids when we're screaming at officials? What are we teaching our kids when we don't play by the rules? And that is the problem with this situation. This is the golden opportunity to teach children, especially in Black America, hey, when you lie, when you cheat, you lose. We screwed up, kids. We're sorry. This is our fault. Because I feel sorry for the kids. If you watch them, to see the joy that those kids played baseball with during this tournament, to have everything they accomplished ruined by adults who cheated, who looked the other way, who knowingly broke the rules. But again, there is honor in doing things the right way. And if you don't follow the rules, what have you won? Look at the turmoil over Deflategate. People are up in arms over a team that allegedly had footballs with less air in them. And people lost their mind over it. By the way, is Tom Brady or Bill Belichick black? Maybe I'm missing something. This team has players on the team that were not supposed to be on the team. And under the rules, they broke them. You're in violation of the rules. Worse yet, these kids are being used as a prop. These kids are being used as a way to once again cry martyrdom, cry racism, cry victimhood, when once again it doesn't exist in this situation. And I have said this, and I will continue to say that racism in America still exists. Black men in America are victims of race at times. The problem is when the Rainbow Push Coalition, Jesse Foghorn Langhorn Jackson, Al Sharpton, and the professional race baiters are out there, and they're the Paul Reveres of racism. The racists are coming! The racists are coming! When they are the boy who cried wolf when it comes to racism, when everything that happens to black America is not their fault, and instead is the fault of racism, when real racism happens in America, it falls on deaf ears, and I don't believe it. Forget about losing the United States Championship in the Little League World Series. What these kids are now losing is something far more valuable. Their dignity. And they're not losing that by their own choice. They're losing their dignity because of what adults once again are putting them in. They're in the middle of something created and manifested by adults who are teaching their kids to look for the imaginary Klansmen under their bed. Because in black America today, leaders in the community are not teaching right and wrong and responsibility. They're teaching victimhood. And folks, this is a story that is going to grow wings. Pay attention to this story if you haven't. I will have it on the Facebook page. Again, wink, wink, the According to Me show page on Facebook. You really, really should like that page. And you can see all the stuff, all the articles, everything we've talked about on today's show is going to be on there once the episode's over. So if you haven't done that yet, According to Me show, click like on Facebook. Pay attention to the story, folks. They're throwing a parade on Saturday to reaffirm the championship. The championship that you lost because you cheated. Rahm Emanuel is all in. By the way, Rahm Emanuel, the mayor of Chicago, former Obama advisor and BFF, is getting a lot of flack from black voters because he's a dirtbag. And what's a great way to pander to black people? Oh, I'm outraged about this Jackie Robinson West. You know what I'm going to do? I'm the mayor of Chicago. I'm going to call up the Little League and bitch about it and say this is bullcrap. Yep. It's all political. It's all BS. Folks, pay attention to this story. Before we get to the Asshat of the Week actually has a sponsor, and that is Audible.com. Now, I love to read. I really, really do. I've been on vacation this week, so you think I'd have all the time in the world to get caught up on the books I want to read, and there's like a ton that I want to get caught up on. The problem is, I don't have time. I got 4 kids. I have a day job. It's kind of busy for me, but I love to read. Well, I just don't have the time to sit with a book in my hand and read this book for, more than 10 minutes? I don't get interrupted. But you know what I do have? I have a phone, I have a tablet, and I have a subscription to Audible.com. This way, all the books I want to hear, All the books I want to read, I can just listen to when I'm cutting the grass, when I'm driving back and forth to work, when I'm in the bathroom. Hey, don't act like you don't do that too. And I can get caught up on all the books I want to read. If this sounds like your kind of thing, busy as heck, but want to keep up on the bestsellers that are out there. And by the way, Audible's part of Amazon, so there are like hundreds of thousands of books to choose from. All the new releases, all that good stuff. And as a fan of the 4-Hour Polititainment Hour, and as a listener here according to me, we hook you up. Here's what you got to do. You go to audibletrial.com/Polititainment. Just go to the website, audibletrial.com/Polititainment. Sign up, you get a free 30-day trial. No strings attached. You get a free book, no strings attached. You don't like it, you still keep the book for free. It is an awesome, awesome service. And again, just like Netflix, how often do you go to the video store anymore? Because, well, it's just better watching movies that way, right? Yeah, well, this is a better way to read. I'm sorry. audibletrial.com/Polititainment. You will love it. audibletrial.com/Polititainment. It's time, folks, for this week's Ass Hat of the Week.
It is time for this week's Ass Hat of the Week.
Now, folks, I told you in the beginning of the show, I really wanted to highlight an artist. Somebody I really, really have appreciation for. I want to play some art for you. Listen, this is art.
Honey.
That's right. I put this right up there with Van Gogh. Just think of any art institute. I don't know how you do better than this artist. This is art! Yeah. This artist is this week's Ass Hat of the Week. Our good friend, my best friend, and yours, our good friend, Mr. Kanye West. Now, we all know what happened in 2009 with him getting on stage with Taylor Swift and saying, hey, no disrespect to none, but like Beyonce's dope and she should have won the award. Well, Grammys last week, Beck, who sucks, wins the Grammy for Best Album of the Year. He walks up on stage, and if you see the video, they actually had cameras on Jay-Z and Beyonce, and the face they made was of horror, like, he is not, and then they realized he was kidding. He actually walked off the stage. He didn't interrupt him. Aha, funny. It'd be not a big deal if it was that, right? That's all it would be. But then, after the Grammys, he had to let it be known that, hey, listen, if the Grammys, they want real artists. Speaking of real art, let me play some more art for you. This guy, oh, man, just things of beauty. Listen to this art.
But you need, I got what you need, but you need, but you need,
yeah, that's art.
Hello, white America, assassinate my character. Money matching.
Yes, man, oh man, that is up there with some of the classic music I've ever heard in my entire life. You know, it'd be a shame if artists like Kanye stopped going to the Grammys. Because again, he said, if you want artists to come back, they need to stop playing with us. We ain't going to play with them no more. Beyonce video, and Beck needs to respect artistry, and he should just give his award to Beyonce. And the thing is, he's not kidding. He's not. He's dead serious. This is a guy who feels that if the album of the year, if the artist of the year is not black, it's racist. Wow. I wonder if he's going to be at the Jackie Robinson West Parade this Saturday. You may as well join those guys, because it's the same thing. Jay-Z wins. Oh, man, Jay-Z's great. Jay-Z loses, and a white guy wins. Last year it was Daft Punk. They're robots, so maybe they don't count, but you get my point. So, in tribute, I figured, since he's such an artist, I kind of want to pay it forward. So, Kanye, this is for you, baby. Yeah. Getting ridiculed, all types of backlash, because you walked on stage and act like a jackass. To you, it's racist if the Grammy winner ain't black. Kanye, you're the according to me asshat. Yeah. Uh-huh. Kanye.
Uh-huh, honey.
Tune in next week for another exciting installment of Asshat of the Week.
Always look on the bright side of life.
That's going to put the finishing touches on, according to me. We learned about race baiting and Jackie Robinson West. We learned that Kanye is a great artist. And we learned about net neutrality on this week's show. Don't go anywhere. Bunny is coming up next. Unapologetically Bunny on at 9. After that, it's Real Serious Nonsense. Bunny filling in with Powell at 10 o'clock and the Stafford Voice at 11 o'clock. Folks, don't go anywhere. The 4-hour Polititainment Hour is just getting started. We'll be back next week faster than you could say furious. And this has been Net Neutrality, Race, and Kanye West, according to me. We'll see you next week, folks.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network. K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.